Perfect. So before we get into things, I'd like to just tell you a little bit about me. My name is Bernicky. And I've always loved digital marketing, even though I didn't know I loved it. And by that I mean, I've always had a passion for websites, for selling things online, and I surprisingly had that since I was a little kid. In fact, when I was 6 years old, I would sit around home and instead of playing outside and doing things that normal people do, I was a weirdo sitting inside with a ream of paper because it's the only thing I could get my hands on. And I thought, I'm going to put something together because, you know, if I can make something that looks like something in real life, I can try to sell it for a quarter or a dime to somebody who comes over and visits at my house, and you know, I've got a business. It's fun. So one day I'm doing this, and I would do this every day after school. And my dad actually reached out to me. He's kind of making a joke. He's like, "Oh, I should get you set up with a website." And you know, he's laughing about it, and I was sitting there, big eyed. Oh my gosh, this is where I need to go. We can have a website. I can sell all this stuff online. We could be, you know, we can be rich beyond our wildest dreams. It'll be amazing. And I brought it up to him, like, yeah, can I have a website? And he goes, he's, you know, confused, like, maybe, you know. And I kept bugging him about it over and over again. It was almost kind of like what Eric was talking about. Every day I was talking to him, Dad, please, please, please. And I didn't know when it went to that kind of thing at that point in time. I'm in kindergarten. And my dad works in IT, he's a great guy. He gave me the opportunity and set me up with a domain name, got a website hosted for me, and he worked with me for a little bit in program Microsoft Front Page back in, well, not too far back in the day, but set me up with that program, and we developed our first website. It's called worldofpaper.com. Didn't get any sales or anything from it, but what it did is it put things into perspective for me. I realized that, you know what, you can make a website, you can make it happen. You know what, if you can do it as a 6-year-old, you can do it as a 12-year-old, you can do it as a 15-year-old, as a 30-year-old, as a 6-year-old. You have the capabilities, you can do it. The tools are easy and they're simple to use. And heck, I even at that time could barely read and I could go through those settings, so you can too. But what I figured out I really loved was putting together videos and putting that online and playing around with that kind of thing. And what I found over time was as I was putting that kind of, as I was putting it together and as I was growing, going through school, I realized that what I actually loved was not the actual, it was selling to an extent, but it was really the marketing of the products. And I didn't realize that until I was a senior in high school, and I was actually working with my dad. He gave me the opportunity to work in IT, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I knew that whatever I did, I wanted to love what I did, but I didn't know what that thing I loved was. And it was actually, I was sitting with the owner of the company that I was working for, that my dad worked for as well, and he was telling me, he's like, you know, you're doing all these side jobs, you're working with us, you should start a business. And he was just saying, you know, you should do it so you can, you know, write off your expenses. And he was a big guy that was, you know, a big proponent of, you know, give the government as little money as you possibly can. He's one of those guys. And that's the way he framed it to me. And to me, I'm looking at it and I go, it was my second moment where I just had big eyes and I thought, wait a second here. There's something more to this than just, you know, than just saving money and not giving as much money to the government, which still saving money is a good thing. I don't think anybody would argue that it's not. But I realized that, you know what, this guy's saying I can do it. What's stopping? What's holding me back? So I did it. I started a company and I started Nexalting. And Nexalting is, originally, it was a company that did IT consulting, web design, and video production. And what we started with was it was really just all of these side jobs that I was doing for people. And what I realized was, even though we were doing something that was really great and that I really enjoyed doing, I wanted to do more. I wanted to create something. I wanted to create products. And the service side of it was awesome. I loved doing it. It was fun. But on top of that, I wanted to create something that would be sustainable, that would be beyond me, and do something for a purpose. And it was something that I picked up. I was given an incredible opportunity to go to actually InfusionCon. It was about Infusionsoft software in Phoenix, Arizona. It's a great thing, great conference. And while I was sitting at that conference, I was in this breakout group with a group of great people, all really passionate about what they did. And at the time, I just had this brand new company. I was still in high school. I thought I was going to go to film school and live this, cookie cutter life. And I was sitting down at this conference room table, and I said to everybody, like, my name's Brandon, and I've got this, this company. I don't think it's going to really go anywhere. And everyone stopped me right when I said that, and they said, no. They said, if you say that, you're not going to go anywhere. If you're driving down the street and you say, I'm not going to hit this pole, I'm not going to hit this pole, you have a really good chance to hit that pole. The more you think about it, the more you focus on it. So what I realized that in that moment, and I realized, holy crap, I've got something here, and if I put everything I've got into it, 150% into it, I can make something that I love to do. And we're still on that path, and I think we're going to really kick some butt, and I love it, but we shall see. So today, what I would love to talk about with you guys is buyer journeys. And I want to break it out into 3 sections. I want to talk about generating engagement in leads and as it pertains to buyer journeys. I want to talk about nurturing leads. And while you're nurturing, sell these leads. Let's make some cash. So before we jump into everything, I want to talk about what a buyer journey actually is. And I want to show you an example, a real 30,000 foot kind of bird's eye view example of a very simple buyer journey. And this buyer journey could essentially apply to pretty much any business. And for this instance, let's just choose a plumber. So we've got a free guide which goes to a small ticket item, a medium ticket item, and a large ticket item. So what's that mean? So for instance, if we're working with like a plumber here, what could a free guide be for a plumber? Okay, let's think if the plumber's trying to save water, be efficient. Here's a free guide on being efficient with your water supply, lower your water bills, and go green. That's great. So there's your free guide right there. What other things could a free guide be? And by the way, the main goal with this free guide here is to harvest your email address. We want to give you something for free and get something back. If we get that something back, we can then market to you. We can take you to the next part of the buyer journey. We can offer you something else. We'll go to the other steps in just a second, but I want to give you a couple other things that you could potentially offer to your prospects in your buyer journey. It could be a free download. It could be a discount code. If you want to give free shipping in your online shop, there's a perfect first step. You can join a special club. Right now, we're working with a new apartment property out in the suburbs, actually out in Romeoville. And Nexalting is working with this community that's going to be geared towards millennials. And what we've worked on is creating this first step in the buyer journey that's actually signing up for this free membership. And when you sign up for this free membership to join this website, it's essentially joining a community. You get a little VIP card. You get a physical card in the mail. And that has your username and your password so you can log into the website so you can access this awesome community of creatives in this great new up-and-coming area. You have the ability to join something and be a part of something. So joining a special club is definitely a way to go. Pretty much anything that adds value that you could give away for free, give it to them in exchange for their email address. And if you can do that, then you can take them to the next step, which is marketing to them for a small ticket item. What's a $7 small ticket item that you could offer? Very small, maybe a $30 ticket item. And then how can you move them to the next stages in that journey? So going from that small ticket item, let's say for the plumber, it's a small 30-minute consultation, just looking at your piping, seeing if there's some issues, or maybe you're using some of the wrong equipment that could be putting you in a position where you're wasting water, or it's being inefficient. Then you go all the way up to the large ticket item, where in our plumber example, now you're spending you're hiring the plumber to come out for a week straight. He's going to replace everything, make your house the most water efficient home that you've ever seen, and make sure that all your toilets are completely unclogged for a long time. So let's go back to how we actually generate those leads. So we went through the buyer journey. How do we generate the leads to actually get them in that buyer journey? And today I want to specifically hone in on Facebook, because I know we can spend a lot of time going through each of these social networks here and figure out different ways and different various ways that we can generate leads. There's a lot of ways. What I'm going to talk about right now is just a couple of ways. But I want to put them into two categories. Your leads that you can generate organically, which is great. That's your free leads. I mean, if you can go through and you can share something online, and somebody reacts to that because you shared it with your friend group, and now your friends are entering their name and their email address, and you got that, now you spent no money to generate a lead. That's awesome. The other way, we'll briefly touch on paid, how you can generate paid leads as well, and then how that all pertains to the buyer journey. So let's look at organic first. And as you've heard today from our awesome speakers, consistent content. To get content out there. And another thing that we've used at Nexalting is kind of a rule of thumb. We've used 70% of our content and information, potentially sharing blog articles or something that's not a direct sales post. And then our 30% has that call to action, has that sale kind of post. And then we also have been using a lot lately is that kind of the concept of gamification. What that means is that, for instance, we have one example. We're working with an apartment management company. Actually, has a couple of properties nearby here, and they want to start using Instagram more. They want to get their communities involved using Instagram. So what we created was a simple campaign where people could take pictures of their property, use a certain hashtag. When they use that hashtag, they're entered into a contest. But there's a catch. To actually get in this contest, you got to give us your information. We got to know who you are. So now we're generating their lead information. This extends to the residents, but also more. Also past that, and we essentially make a game out of it. Another example I want to bring up is Nexalting had the incredible opportunity of working with a researcher who actually dedicated his life to researching the John F. Kennedy presidency. And this guy's name's Phil. Just an incredible guy, super smart. You could talk to him for hours about John F. Kennedy. It's incredible. And he had the goal. And actually, let me preface: he's not a computer guy. He has his flip phone, and he calls it his dumb phone. His words, not mine. But what we did with him, he had a goal of reuniting John F. Kennedy's honor. The original 6 people who carried JFK's casket back in the 60s are all still alive today. And he had this goal to reunite them all in Westmont, Illinois, just 30, 45 minutes away from here, and have them all meet for the first time since they buried the president. And Phil was laser focused on this goal, but he didn't know how to raise money online for this. He knew he could send out an email to his friends, but that's only about 40 or 50 people he could send an email out to. Is that going to raise the 10,000 to 15,000 he needs? Probably not. So he reached out and he said, hey, is there any way we could use social media or we could use a website to generate some money? And the first thing that came to mind was we should use, GoFundMe, but then on the bigger picture there is we thought, okay, how can we use social media to craft some call to actions, to start bringing in donations to this incredible project? And what we realized, or what we focused on, was putting together great videos, because Phil was a very smart guy in the JFK case. We put together simple 30-second videos with content that would be interesting to people about pertaining to the JFK case. And then what we did as well, and so we put together those videos, and then we put together little Facebook Canvas posts. And if there's one thing that I'd recommend you guys all spend a little bit of time just looking into later today, it's Facebook Canvas. It's so powerful. It's the one restriction is mobile only. You can't do it on a desktop computer. You can create them on desktop computers, but you cannot view them. But what we found with Canvas ads is they're so rich and they're so full of content. When you open up a Canvas ad or a Canvas post on Facebook, they pop out to you like a website. But you're not leaving the silo of the Facebook ad. You see, when you have to leave Facebook, when another box pops up and you're on a different website, you're out of the Facebook experience. What you're going to find is people that just hit back. No, I don't want this to load. This isn't Facebook. I don't like this. When you're in the same experience the entire time, you're going to see higher engagement rates. And that's what we found. So we created a couple and we shared it out with our friends, and we wound up raising a decent amount of money. It wasn't a huge amount of money, and we'll talk about the paid approach where we really started raising a lot of money, but we raised probably about $1,000 in 20 days. And that was just from sharing out to our friend groups with no one else. So the other side of it is the paid side. And there I want to really focus on Facebook. And the three things that I want to talk about in generating leads for your buyer journey is using Facebook lead ads, again, Canvas for Facebook ads, and then just simple brand awareness campaigns. And I think that we can explain this best by going back to that story about Phil. With Phil, we put together a couple Facebook lead ads after we raised that first initial $1,000. We're like, okay, well, this is doing well. We can put some money into it. Hopefully, we can generate even more. So we created a Facebook lead ad. And essentially, what that is we put together a video, and it was essentially a trailer for the project itself. It was a 3-minute trailer, and it was served directly to our target buyers. It was people that were interested in history, that they're interested in John F. Kennedy. We targeted them specifically, and then what we also did is we targeted people who had given or that have donated online in the past, or charitable people. As for the people that we wanted to interact with. And one thing I would have to say with that too is I think it's incredibly important to make sure that your targeting on your Facebook ads is extremely precise. And I won't get into that too much because I know Eric's going to talk about it a little bit, but extremely precise targeting is key. It's huge. So we created a simple Facebook lead ad. What's great about that is once you hit learn more, a little box pops up. It's got your information pre-filled because you're on Facebook. Facebook's got your information. All they had to do is hit submit, and boom, we've got their lead information. It was simple, it was easy, it was efficient. The other way that we created ads was through Canvas, and we created these stunning, beautiful looking ads. We had a video up at the top. Down below we had a little write-up about why we needed to raise money for this project. Phil was not a wealthy guy. And a little call to action button. Click the button, it'll take you to your landing page, boom, get us your information, and now you're on to the next step. So the third ad that we ran that can sometimes be your most powerful ad is just a simple brand awareness campaign. And what I mean by that is essentially taking you back to the organic campaigns that you spent so much time on, but taking you there by targeting customers through advertising. So you essentially you're creating an ad saying, check out our Facebook page. It's so awesome. When you go to the Facebook page, there's our awesome organic campaign that we spent so much time on. So we covered generating the leads. How do we nurture them? And I would say that if we consistently follow up with that, and Sam covered it perfectly, Eric also covered it perfectly, email follow-up in an automated fashion can be huge. It can save you time, it can save you money. Another thing that sometimes can get overlooked, especially as you start sending out a lot of automated emails. We had this happen with one of my clients, it's a real estate brokerage. There were so many automated emails going out that it kind of took the place of some human follow-up in those first initial steps. And it's important to keep in mind that in some cases, if you just give somebody a call and follow up, it really gives you that genuine sense that, hey, this is a real person. And then another way, if you've got a larger group of people that you can follow up with, retargeting ads can be huge. To be able to say, okay, well, we visited our page or you went to our website, now let's serve you an ad again, and say, well, it's essentially like if you're shopping on Amazon and you're looking at a tablet, and then you go on Facebook about a week later and you see, hey, I've got this ad for the same tablet I was looking at online. That same concept. It can be really powerful, and then essentially while you're following up and you're sending out these emails, you're essentially doing, you're essentially working at the one goal, which is selling. So let's revisit our buyer journey here. We generated our leads, we followed up and we followed up with our leads, and we were nurturing our leads. Now, as we're following up, we're dropping calls to action to make a purchase. Make your $7 purchase. Make your $14 purchase. Okay, they bought the small ticket item. Now let's take them to the next step. And again, this is a very simplified way of looking at it. There's buyer journeys that are huge and complex. There's conditionals. You can go from your free guide. You can have 4 free guides that take you to the same large ticket item. Or you can have 1 free guide that takes you to 3 different small ticket items, that takes you to 4 different medium ticket items, but then all takes you back to 1 large ticket item, or potentially 5 or 10. I'm always an advocate of simplicity, and for this case, I didn't want to dive too deep into it and get too complex, but essentially taking somebody from spending a little bit amount of money to a larger amount of money is going to help in the process of building trust with your buyer. So one last thing I do want to mention with this as well is, and this is kind of a side note, is that as you especially with e-commerce, if you're selling things, or as you're selling things, make sure to keep in mind your buying process is insanely simple. The more simple your buying process is, the easier it's going to be for somebody to go and check out. If it takes you 10 minutes to check out a product or a service, then your dropout rate is going to be significant. But if I can go onto your website, I can buy your product in a minute or two, whoa! Now by the time I'm rethinking about it, it's already shipped. Too late. There's nothing I can do about it now. But simplifying the buying process can also make it elegant. And I'm not saying the lack of, I'm not talking about simplicity as just a lack of clutter, but I'm talking about simplicity as bringing order to the complexity. Because I know some products and some services can be really complex. Find a way to simplify it, and simplicity is one of the hardest things to do. Find a way to simplify it, make your experience to buy really, really great, and you're going to see your conversion rates go up. So that's essentially what the pretty, just a 30,000-foot view buyer journey, essentially, just a 30,000-foot buyer journey overview, and how Nextalting has applied it with our clients to see quite a bit of results. And a lot of this has come from a lot of experimentation. I didn't go to college, not a day of it. And I was going to go to film school, and I was going to, like I mentioned before, go through that cookie cutter approach. And I decided that I wanted to pick up as much information as I could from others and try to do things in an unconventional way. And when we first started doing this, when we first started working with buyer journeys, we were actually working with Infusionsoft at a real estate brokerage. And I found, when we tested out a couple things, we had this pretty much same system at first, but we didn't have the free guide in place. And essentially what we found is we learned from the errors that we made, the mistakes that we made. And from 30,000-foot view here, this has worked really well for us. So I appreciate the time.